Justice with Judge Mablean will be life because in everything we do, it involves the law. Where's your witness?
In the evidence.
That's hearsay.
It's notarized.
I still say it's hearsay.
She's fair.
You're going to help these young men learn how to do this the right way.
Yes, Your Honor.
She's firm.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
No, I don't need to say anything else.
She's honest.
I'm not your child and I'm not your friend. That's the order of the court. Goodbye.
This is Justice with Judge Mablean.
All rise. Both parties, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Court is now in session with the Honorable Judge Mablean presiding.
Thank you, Will. You may be seated. And here we are in the matter of Cameron Morales versus Jason Perk. You're suing him for $750, the cost of a VIP ticket to an Arthur signing. And you said you're doing this because he refused to accommodate your disability, right? As promised.
As promised.
Yes. Not yet. I'm still talking. And you, Mr. Perk, are saying, I did.
Yes.
I kept my word. I did offer him the accommodations.
Everything.
But he left. So let me hear about this.
I became aware of this intimate event at Mr. Perk's home, and this is an author that I had been following and was very interested in meeting him, listening to a Q&A, and also attending this lavish dinner. The tickets were $750 for a VIP ticket, but I'm wheelchair bound. So I emailed Mr. Perk and asked him if he would be able to accommodate my situation.
Right.
He said he would. He said he would give me more space at the dinner table for my wheelchair, and he said that I would be able to enter on the east side of his home, which is not as steep of an entrance, and that he would come up and escort me down. And he would place someone to valet my vehicle on that side.
Okay.
I felt comfortable purchasing the ticket, so I did. He suggested in his email that I show up 15 minutes before the event was to start. I did that. I followed his instructions. He had someone there to park my car and help me out.
Okay.
And I waited 10 to 15 minutes, and Mr. Perk's son came up to escort me down. Well, Mr. Perk's son is very young. He's a child. When his son showed up, I asked him, I said, have you taken anybody in a wheelchair down a steep angle like this? And he said, no.
Okay.
So I didn't feel comfortable.
All right.
And I said, can you go down and ask your father to come up as he promised in his email that he would? So he did, and I waited. And I waited and I watched people park in the west side parking lot and make their way down to the event. I was positioned in my wheelchair on the east side for 45 minutes.
Wow.
I felt abandoned. I started to get cold, and I decided that he wasn't going to show up. So I left.
Okay. So now I'm going to talk to Mr. Perk. Mr. Perk, you gave this lavish event. You promised him that he could, you could accommodate him?
Yes. I've had
Okay, so what happened?
many people in wheelchairs have been to the events at my home. I didn't see this to be any different, but if he wanted to establish he needed extra help, I got that. He was comfortable, as he said. I had the valet there to meet him, help him out of his car. All that was covered. Now, I didn't come up immediately. I sent my son up. My son is not a child.
How old is your son?
My son is 17. He drives.
He's a child.
He's on a learner's permit.
Thank you, Your
child.
Honor.
Okay.
I don't know what you call him, but
He's a young adult.
No, not yet. Adult was when you turn 18. And then you become a young adult after you turn 18 and become an adult. So, but we won't argue. That's semantics. The point is, it was a 17-year-old. He asked if he had any experience. The young man said no. He was inexperienced with pushing persons in a wheelchair. So
As am I, Your Honor.
So he felt uncomfortable. Okay, go on.
The fact that he felt abandoned and uncomfortable, I feel, and I have apologized many times for that. I can imagine what it must feel like to be alone,
Right.
And unable to get.
So why was he up there 45 minutes? You couldn't ask anyone else to go?
He wasn't there for 45 minutes. That I'm sorry is mistaken. Your watch needs
I
a little.
showed
Okay, wait a minute.
early.
Wait, hold on a second.
Your watch needs an adjustment.
Hold on a second.
Yes.
You knew when he arrived because you sent your son to
Yes.
go and escort him. You don't know when he left because you didn't know that he had left. Isn't that right?
That's correct.
So then you don't know how long he was out there.
Well, I went up there to find him, to bring him down
And
because
what time was it when you went up there?
I believe it
You
was.
believe.
Well, it was.
Means you don't know.
Coming up on Justice with Judge Mablean.
I sent his son back down asking him to tell his father.
And his father came, he said.
45 minutes
You
later,
you say 45 minutes. He says 20 minutes.
45 minutes
Okay, tell me
later.
who had a watch and who timed it.
And later,
And she decided, since you don't have anything decorated in the walls, you can use this art as a decoration. I assumed it was a gift from her.
You didn't assume a gift when she said use this art as a decoration. How you gonna assume a gift?
if you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Cameron Morales, who is suing Jason Perk for negligence.
What time did you get up there?
7:05.
And what time did the event begin?
Called for 7 o'clock, but by 7:05, nothing had happened. It's over 100
Wait a
people.
minute. The event began at 7 o'clock.
You arrived.
You told him to arrive 15 minutes early, so that would be 6:45.
Right.
And if you went up there at 7:05, that's only 20 minutes.
Exactly.
But when did your son go?
At the appointed time, maybe 10 minutes after the appointed time, so 6:50, 55.
And you were there
I
at
don't
7:05.
think
Correct.
So within 20 minutes, when he's only arrived 15 minutes early, you're there.
Yes.
And you're saying he left within 20 minutes.
He was gone. I went up. I spoke to as many valets as I could. No, he left. The gentleman left.
What time was the author
We
supposed
were
to
going
speak?
to have dinner, which would start at 7:30. 7 o'clock was the start, if you will, because you're having drinks and cocktail. Meet the author, make small talk, have dinner at 7:30. At 8:15, 45 minutes later, there was a speaking engagement and then a question and answer and book signing. This went on until after 10. So to leave at 7:05 and consider that, well, you missed the event.
I was abandoned.
Excuse me, Mr. Morales. Why are you talking to him?
Yes, Your Honor.
You already told me your point. Why were you so impatient? When you knew that it was dinner first. First it was a meet and greet, social hour, then dinner, and then the author was to speak, and then there was the Q&A. So
I wouldn't
why?
say I was impatient.
I think so, for an event that's going to last 2 or 3 hours, for you to leave within the hour
Well,
because you haven't been picked up. Or
It's a
why didn't you pick up the phone and call?
$750 VIP event. I showed up as directed by Mr. Perk 15 minutes before the event
Okay, but
started.
he also sent someone to come and get you as he agreed. But you did not want that person to take you.
I didn't feel comfortable.
But you didn't say I have to feel comfortable. He said I will send somebody. You know,
He didn't say he would send somebody. He said he would himself.
so you're going on himself personally. He had to come. Did you know this man?
I did not.
Have you ever seen him?
I have not.
Did you know his height? Did you know his weight?
No,
Did you know whether he was handicapped or not?
I didn't know that.
Did you know whether he was capable of taking you down?
I was very comfortable with his communication to me that he said he would come up and take me down.
Mr. Morales, you're banking on the word "I will come."
But
when you're
I understand.
hosting an event, the point, all you needed was someone to get you in.
Somebody
And
that
when
I had a level of
'cause
comfort
you
with.
didn't know
not
anybody.
a child.
Did you ask anyone else?
There
My
wasn't
question-
anybody there
Did
on
you
my side.
ask?
I did not. They
Thank you,
weren't
sir.
there to ask.
Why not?
I sent
There
his
were people
son back
parking over
down.
there as well.
I sent his son back down asking him to tell his father.
And his father came, he said.
45 minutes
You know,
later,
you say 45 minutes. He says 20 minutes.
45 minutes
Okay, tell me
later.
who had a watch and who timed it. And when you left, did you call him so you would
Well, I had a
So it
watch
would show
because-
on your phone when you left, did you call him? It was showing your phone what time you left.
I did not call him, no. Because I had communicated
You didn't
with
even
his
call
son.
to say, I'm leaving you?
I communicated with his son. When he abandoned me and left
He
me
did
there.
not abandon you.
When his son went back down.
Stop. I'm not arguing with you, okay? And I'm
Okay.
not debating. You may think that's what I'm doing, but let me just point out that's not what I'm doing. So let me finish it. What I am saying to you is he made an effort to do what he promised he would do. He did not ignore your request. He sent someone to push you down, and you decided this person isn't capable. You had no idea what this man's statute was. You didn't know if he was thin, if he was big, if he had physical disabilities himself, limitations or whatever. You knew nothing about this man. But he's saying, I still came, I personally, and you were gone. From an event that was going to last at least 2 hours, probably 3. So you had a whole evening to hang out with Simon, and you cut it off in a short time.
During the first part of the event, during the drinks and the meet and greet, is when I was going to meet the author.
No, you can meet the author at any point when there is an event for 2 or 3 hours, but that's why you have a time frame. No, you acted hastily. He did not. You lost your money.
I lost.
What you had, hush! Now I have to talk to you like a child. I told you I'm not arguing with you. My ruling is that you acted hastily, that Mr. Perk did not violate his promise to you, that he kept his word to you. When you're doing and making decisions, you have to think, what is most important here? I paid $750 for what? What's most important to me since I paid $750? What do I want to get out of this? Am I able to get what I've paid for out of this? Yes, because you could have seen the author. You gave up. That's not his fault. You can't act hastily, particularly when you're at other person's mercies. You know you have to wait. Patience is a virtue that you got to practice and get a little more experience at. Judgment for the defendant.
All rise.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been denied.
I'm sorry it came to this.
This
I
isn't
truly
fair.
am. I really empathize with the fact that you felt alone and abandoned. It really was not the case.
I appreciate.
I wish I could have spoken with you.
I appreciate the apology from you. I appreciate that.
Coming up,
I wanted to give it back. I didn't.
But if you couldn't give it back, put it on your wall until you can find the person.
I needed the money at the time. I'm sorry.
Right. Now tell the truth, shame the devil. You needed the money.
Correct.
So
Your
you
Honor.
sold it.
you're watching Justice with Judge Mablean.
Court is now in session with the Honorable Judge Mablean presiding.
The matter of Sofia Delgado versus Asher Romero. You're suing him for $1,275 for the cost of a piece of artwork. You said it was loaned to him and he sold it. Let me hear your argument. Let me hear your story.
So I left my art at his coffee shop. It was very close to my school. It was in Eugene Street. So when it first opened, I would go like there, and that's how I got to know him, got to talk to him. He didn't have any pieces of art in his wall. He loved art. I am an artist. I was like, I can leave here this art in your coffee shop for as long as you want.
So it was a loan to him, not a gift,
Yes, it was a loan.
to hang up in his coffee shop.
To hang up in his coffee shop, and in return, I get exposure.
All right, so what happened? How did it end up in his possession?
So what ended up happening is I went to school overseas, so that was like 4 months, but he reached out to an email that was not my current email. Well, I came back, his shop was closed, and my art was gone. And I emailed him from my right email, and
Oh, so then you emailed him. And what did you find out?
that he sold the painting.
And that's the $1,275?
Yes.
Tell me about it, Mr. Romero.
Yes, Your Honor. Like Sophia said, 5 years ago was when I met her and I first opened my shop. She was a regular there. She would come in once a month. You know, we'd talk about art. I found out she was an art student, and she presented to me the artwork that we're speaking of. And she decided, you know, since you don't have anything decorated in the walls, you can use this art as a decoration. I assumed it was a gift from her.
You didn't assume a gift when she said use this art as a decoration. How are you going to assume a gift?
Coming up,
So you're going to tell me she said use it and then turn around and said I thought she was giving it. That's a lie. You didn't think that. Because you didn't have to think that because she told you exactly what she said. Use it.
Right. Well, she loaned me her art after a while, and then unfortunately the rent skyrocketed and I was unable to afford to keep the cafe open.
You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Sofia Delgado, who is suing Asher Romero for property loss.
So you're going to tell me she said use it and then turn around and said I thought she was giving it. That's a lie. You didn't think that. Because you have to think that because she told you exactly what she said. Use it.
Right. Well, she loaned me her art after a while, and then unfortunately the rent skyrocketed and I was unable to afford to keep the cafe open. Now, I reached out to her a few times with her email that she provided. I have evidence, if I may provide the evidence, Your Honor.
She said you had the wrong email address and she didn't update you.
Of course, yes, she did.
But she also went to the University of Oregon and she was a student there and you knew about that. So did you reach out to the university?
I did
Try
not.
to reach her that way?
I did not at the time. I had my hands full with my cafe closing. My family had to help me out with all that. It was, honestly, that's like the last thing I was able to do.
Okay, so you couldn't find her, so why did you sell it as opposed to just keeping it at your home?
Well, because of the financial issues with my shop, I had to move back home with my parents, and everything in the shop, I had to move out. I didn't have room, or I couldn't afford storage space. That's why
I need storage for a piece of art if you're moving to somewhere, just put it on the wall.
Well, I wanted to give it back. I didn't.
But if you couldn't give it back, put it on your wall until you can find the person.
I needed the money at the time. I'm sorry.
Right. Now tell the truth, shame the devil. You needed the money.
Correct.
So
Your
you
Honor.
sold it.
Yes.
Good answer. All right? Good answer. Now, the question is, was the property abandoned? How long were you gone or out of reach when your property was left at his place of business?
4 months.
How much did you get for it?
$900.
So where does the $1,275 come in?
Well, the cannabis shop owner, they framed it and spent $375 on the new frame.
Judge Mablean's verdict when Justice with Judge Mablean returns. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean.
I'm ordering you to pay, defendant shall pay the plaintiff $637.50. The other $637.50 to get it back, you have to come up with if you really want it back. Because that's what the shop owner is willing to sell it to you for, and he has every right now at this point to bargain.
The thing is, it was never for sale. Like, it was never for sale.
Ma'am, we're not going back over that.
Yeah,
I
it's
know it was
okay.
never for sale, but you did not guard your art. You left it in this man's shop. You just left out. Reasonable for him to believe that you've abandoned it. Not unreasonable. He had your art, not vice versa. That's yours, meaningful to you. So you have to accept responsibility for your conduct as well, young lady. So that's the order of the court.
All rise.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $637.50.
I thought it's super unfair that you sent me to court. You know, I contacted you several times. You should have updated your information.
You contacted the wrong email.
Exactly, because you didn't update your contact
Bro,
information. It wasn't my fault.
you sold it for $900. Like,
That wasn't
stop
my
acting
fault.
like the victim here.
If it was that
Literally,
important to you, you
money
would have
from it.
come
You
and
got
asked
money
her to
from
give me
something
the
that's
right
not
email
even yours
address.
to
All
sell.
right, we heard all this before.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.